Hey everybody. My name is John. I am here from Plaid to host you this evening in the Michael's Community Classroom. Like we do every Monday night, we are here to paint and have some fun. So we appreciate you joining us. Tonight we have Jesse teaching spring doodle flowers. So pretty excited about that. It's a fun painting and I think you guys are going to really enjoy it. So I will be working the chat. If you have any questions that you would like me to pass along to Jesse, I will be able to do that. And I think most of you have probably know the drill here, how this all works. But we will be taking you through a full painting in maybe just about an hour or less. And if you are able to keep up and paint along, that's great. If you feel like the pace is maybe a little bit fast and you want to just hit the brakes, you can go back and to the michaels.com/classes and see the recording of the class later, and you can paint tomorrow or the next day at your leisure. So without further ado, I will hand it over to you, Jesse.
Thanks, John. Hey, everybody. Like John said, my name is Jesse, and I'm a content creator here at Plaid. And I'm really excited to be painting this painting with you guys tonight. It's a really, really fun one. It's super simple to do. You really can't mess it up. So hopefully you guys are excited to paint this spring doodle flower with me tonight. I really love the colors. So yellow is Pantone's color of the year, in case you guys didn't know. So I am just loving yellow. Okay, so first I'm gonna let you guys know what supplies you'll need to get started. So I'm sure you saw the supply list, but just as a little bit of a reminder, I've got a 10 by 10 stretched canvas here. So any canvas is fine. For this painting, it can be really any shape or size. You're just going to change the amount of flowers you do. So most likely yours won't look exactly like mine anyway. You're kind of going to place your flowers where you want to. So if you have a wider canvas, taller canvas, a round canvas, whatever it is you have at home, it will absolutely work for this painting. And then I've got some palette paper for putting my paint on. I've got some paper towels and a water basin for cleaning my brushes. And then for brushes, I actually have a couple packs here. I know you guys, I believe you all, on the supply list was the Craftsmart Angular brush set, which is great. Will absolutely work for this painting. So what I'm going to be using tonight is this number 12 flat. It's a number 12 flat brush, but like a 1/2 inch flat or anything that's like this kind of like small to medium flat brush is good for this. So something like that. And then I'm also going to use my 3/4 inch flat brush. So just something else slightly bigger. So we just need like a medium and a large flat brush. And then just some sort of small round brush. So I like this guy. This is the number 5 round brush. So like a little liner brush, you could use the number 4 round, anything that kind of looks like one of those two. I like just for outlining and things like that. So again, I'm going to show you just what they look like. So, I'll tell you the numbers because if you have the exact brush, great. But if what you have just looks similar, that's great too. You'll definitely get the same results if to you it looks like these brushes. So I have my number 5 round, I have a number 12 flat, and then I have a 3/4 inch flat. So that's what I'm going to be using tonight. But again, anything that looks like these. And then as always, we are going to be using our FolkArt acrylic paints. And the colors we have tonight are Wicker white. So any white paint is fine. Any white acrylic paint will work for that. We have yellow ochre, or you can use gilded oak or any sort of like brownish yellow color that you see here. So that's going to be this golden color in the painting. So anything that's kind of like a golden color like that is great for this part. I have medium yellow, so just a nice bright yellow. Anything you've got, any standard yellow color will be great for that one. And then I also have French blue, which is just a really pretty, you can see here in the painting, I don't need to show you, a really pretty soft light blue color. So if you don't have French blue, just grab, your ultramarine or cobalt blue or whatever you have and mix a little bit of white into it and you'll get a nice light blue color. And then I also want to tell you guys, I have a hair dryer here tonight. So just to keep things moving in between coats. So I will be drying as we go. All right, any questions about supplies, John?
I don't think so. I think everybody is ready. We got people from all over the country chiming in. So
awesome. Welcome, guys. I forgot, I also have paint pens. Sorry, guys. This was on the supply list, though. So just a white paint pen. You can use any color you want. You could use gold or silver or black, whatever your preference is. Tonight I have white paint pens. So this is a great one that I got at Michael's. Just a big, thick Craftsmart white paint pen. You can see there. But you know, a thin one is great. Any you know, width is really fine. You can see I have this thinner one here too that will be great for this painting. Just any sort of, you know, colorful paint pen that you got at Michael's is great for this part. And that's what we're gonna do the fun doodling on at the end. That's my favorite part. And then I also want to say too, this is one of those paintings where you can really change up the colors very easily. If you don't like yellow, use pink or purple or red or blue, whatever color you do like. Feel free to swap out colors because any colors will make sense for this. You know, we've got green leaves, which, you know, leaves are usually green, but as far as the flowers go, use your imagination. If you don't like this color palette, by all means, switch it up. Okay, so we are going to start base coating our canvas. So I'm going to grab my medium yellow, put a little bit of that on my palette. And then I'm also going to grab my wicker white. So medium yellow and wicker white. And we're going to start mixing a pale yellow color. So I have a 3/4 inch flat brush, and I'm going to grab 1 part yellow and 1 part white. So I would like to grab 1 part of each and then kind of see where we are. So a nice light yellow, but I want it to be lighter. So I'm going to add some more white. So we're getting this nice, super pale yellow color. That is exactly what I'm looking for. So I'm just going to start base coating my canvas with that. It's a nice pale yellow.
You're using, you said a 3/4 inch flat brush.
Yep, 3/4 inch flat.
And some wicker white and what was the yellow?
Yellow. We just mix them together to get this nice pale yellow color. Just any, you know, light yellow is fine. Doesn't have to be exactly like mine, but just a nice soft yellow color. And when you're base coating your canvas, a lot of people want to just glob paint on, but it's really not necessary, especially if you're using these FolkArt paints. You just want just enough paint to cover your canvas. So you can see here, it's going to be 1 coat and we're going to have complete coverage. And that's one of the best parts about FolkArt is that it has such great coverage and it covers so well without having to do multiple coats. But you can see here, you just want just enough paint on your canvas so that it is, can you kind of see how much paint I have on there? So that's covered. You don't want to be globbing paint on there. You don't want to be adding water to your brush if you don't need it, because that's just going to dilute your paint and it's going to make you have to do more coats later. So you want just a nice, even coat of paint. You can see here, I'm not being super careful about mixing. I kind of have like some white and some yellow going on. I'm kind of mixing a little bit on my brush, and that's okay because as you can see, we're going to be painting all the flowers right on top.
I can see some of our regulars here. Hi, Cricut.
Hey, Cricut.
Cricket's complaining that she was not prepared for tonight. Mom duties got in the way. Well, you know, Cricket, you can send your husband to the store and get the paint like you like to do, and then he can paint tomorrow.
There you go. Problem solved. Okay. So I'm just finishing up my base coat here, guys. And then we want to add a little bit of interest to our background. So, you know, there's not a ton of background showing in the final painting, but there is some showing, and there's a little bit of variety. We just want a little more interest than just the plain flat yellow background. So to do that, I'm going to pick up some white on my brush. So I haven't cleaned my brush. I still have this light yellow color in it. I haven't rinsed it. But I pick up some white, and I'm just going to do little brush strokes here and there, just to give like a little bit of a pattern to my background. So it kind of like reminds me of it, maybe like a honeycomb sort of look, you know, nothing crazy, nothing too specific. I'm just doing little brush strokes here and there. And again, it's okay if it blends into your base coat. That's kind of what we want. That's why we're doing it while it's still wet, just to give it, like I said, a little bit more interest. So it's not just a flat background. And I'm just going in different directions. I'm kind of keeping it either up and down or left and right. I'm not doing diagonal, but you can feel free to if you think that looks good. Oops. Just have some white brush strokes there, nothing crazy. I'm going to do the same thing with yellow. I'm going to pick up a little bit of yellow. I don't want it to be too super duper yellow, so I'm kind of just blending it into my brush to tone it down a little. And I'm going to do little strokes of just that soft yellow here and there. You can see I don't have a ton of this yellow because it's a really bright yellow. I'm kind of mixing it into the white again to soften it a little, just the white that I have here on my palette. And I'm just doing some brush strokes here and there again, just to give it some visual interest. Okay. So we've got some nice stuff going on there. I'm just going to let it be there. I'm going to rinse my brush off.
Okay.
That's it for the background. Super duper simple.
Think everybody seems to be doing okay with this.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. Like I said, this is a really simple one. This is a really fun one. And I'm going to go ahead and grab my hairdryer, guys, and I'm just going to dry my painting. And in case you're new to paint nights, whenever I dry my painting, I like to put it on the highest air setting. And then I fluctuate between the hot and cold setting. So I start with the warm, and if I feel like my painting's getting a little too hot, I don't want my paint to crack, which can happen if you dry it too fast. So when I feel like my painting's starting to get a little bit hot, I switch to the cool setting and I kind of go back and forth.
I'm always amazed at how quiet the hairdryer is. I don't know how that works. She's blasting the hairdryer and you can't even hear it on the Zoom.
Zoom automatically tunes it anything out over a certain
Well, it's pretty
level.
smart.
It is.
If you are feeling like you're getting a little bit behind, remember, everybody, you can always go back and watch this later once they post it on the Michael's website, and Raina will always put that link up for us. But if you need to do that, you can always go back and that way when you're watching after the fact, you can pause or get up and go get yourself a drink or start again, stop again, wait for something to dry, whatever you need to. But Sierra, yes, if you can either hair dry it or some other way to get it dry before we move on, that would be ideal.
Yes. I just dropped my brush. Hang on a second. Okay. Knocked my brush off the table. Okay, yes. So we want your painting to be dry before we go into the next step. So, either grab a hair dryer or like John said in the beginning, sometimes it's easier for these classes. What we love when you guys craft along, it's easier to watch it and just watch it live and, ask questions and make sure you understand how to paint it, and then go back, 24, 48 hours when Michael's gets it up, the recording up on their website, and rewatch it then and paint along. Okay, so now is a fun part. We're going to start painting these really fun flower shapes. So you can see here, really try to see past all the detail, and you can see they're kind of just big blobs. We have these pretty blue, almost like daisy shaped ones, which are a little bit different, but for all the yellow flowers and some of these blue ones, they're really just completely irregular circles. There's nothing fancy about them at all. So I'm going to add a little bit of my yellow ochre to my palette. And I already have some wicker white and some medium yellow on my palette, but if you ran out, go ahead and add those. So I want my medium yellow, my wicker white, and my yellow ochre on my palette right now.
And Jesse, if they don't have that exact yellow ochre, they could get a darker yellow somehow.
You could
How do they do that?
grab some regular yellow, just like a bright, your medium yellow or whatever bright yellow you have, and put, a dab or two of some brown into it, and you'll get a nice, golden color.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to pick up some, I've got my my 3/4 inch flat brush again, the same one we used for our background. And I'm going to pick up some of my yellow ochre. And I'm going to mix just a little bit. It's kind of brown for me, so I'm going to mix just a tiny bit of my medium yellow into it. I just want to brighten it up a little because it's a little bit dark for this painting. So I did about 1 part yellow ochre and 1 part medium yellow. Just again, you can see how it just brightens it up a little bit, but it makes a big difference. And then I'm going to use the same brush. I'm going to start painting these flower shapes on them. And again, you just want to kind of twirl your brush around to get really irregular circles. So if you're one of those people who hates painting circles and insists that you can't draw a perfect circle to save your life, this is the painting for you, because we do not want our flowers to be perfect circles. You want them to be really irregular so we can go in later and add those petal details. So I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to just kind of use the edge of my brush, and I'm just painting a big blob of color, and I'm kind of running out of paint. I didn't mix quite enough. So I'm gonna mix a little more real quick. And we don't want it to be perfect. We want it to have curvy edges. Do you guys see that there? Super simple. Don't overthink it. Just paint your nice curvy shape. And I'm gonna do another one of these over here maybe. You can see I'm kind of here. I'll try to move my arm so you can see. If you guys want to look real quick, see how I'm painting it. I'm kind of using the curve to go that way. And then I use the edge of my brush to go that way. And that's how I get my shape. Did everybody see that? And I'm just kind of touching it up after, making sure it's nice and opaque. Everybody doing okay with their flower shapes?
I think so.
Okay. Awesome. So now I'm going to stick with just those two dark ones. So I'm going to add a little bit more yellow to that mixture just to lighten it. So I have another, slightly brighter gold color, as you can see here. You just want to make sure it's brighter than the one you already had. And I'm going to do a couple more shapes using that one. So the same shapes, but I just brightened up my gold a little. And I'm kind of doing a different composition than my original, so feel free to be really creative with the placement of your flowers. But we do want to get that overlap. We can have some coming off of the edge of the canvas. Okay. So you can see we've just got some nice flower shapes going here. We're going to keep going. I'm going to do one more set of these gold colored flowers, but I'm going to add even more yellow. So I want this one to be this like kind of bright school busy yellow. So I want a good bit of my medium yellow into the mixture. So that's probably good.
You can give everybody a minute to catch up here just in a second when she gets all the yellow ones down, maybe.
Okay.
How's that sound?
Sounds great.
All right.
Cool. So I'll just wait a sec. Just a minute.
Yeah, we'll let everybody catch up.
Totally. So I'm finished with my yellow, guys. So go ahead and give yourself a minute to catch up before we start on our blues. Again, don't overthink it. I know, you guys are probably maybe still drawing your paintings and things like that. But if you are really just taking a lot of time to paint these yellow flowers, don't. Make sure you kind of just go for it. You don't want to overthink it, because then you start thinking about, well, how is a flower shaped? Well, is this going to translate later into a good flower shape? Or I'm trying to make a perfect circle or whatever it is. But you don't want it to be perfect. You want to just kind of get it down there on the canvas, and they'll go back later and add the details. You want this to be nice and loose.
Alicia said that the painting reminds her of SpongeBob backgrounds, which it does. I totally got that.
Oh my God, I can totally see that. That's hysterical. I love that. That's so funny. I can absolutely see that. Like kind of like 70s vibe too. Flower power.
Yes, somebody else was saying 70s, definitely trendy this year.
I love that.
Yes,
the gold color.
There's lots of, yeah. And someone else earlier, I'm trying to remember who that was, said that they were going to make their painting to coordinate with your Mod Podge lampshade that they learned from you, Jessie.
That's so funny. I mentioned this class when we did that. It's a really similar technique, except for with tissue paper. So what he's talking about, guys, is in addition to these Monday night paint nights, we also do a lot of crafting classes in Michael's community classroom during the week. So we do, you know, trend classes, we do Mod Podge classes, we do all kinds of stuff with Michael's. And so a couple weeks ago, I did a lampshade where I cut out tissue paper and I Mod Podge it out to a lamp shape, and then I used a paint pen to add details. And it was very similar to this, just tissue paper instead of paint. So you can go back and check that out on Michael's YouTube channel or on michaels.com, where they have all of their classes posted. That's so funny.
Yeah. So I'll just take a quick second while we're just letting people catch up, then we'll move on. Couple of things to remind you guys about. Certainly, you know about the Michaels classes because you're here. But as Jesse mentioned, in addition to these Monday nights, we do a bunch of other classes on topics like Mod Podge and crafting and stuff. So if you're enjoying this class, be sure to go back to the Michaels website and look at other ones that you might enjoy. And then also, Jesse and Emma, who's one of our teachers here, and Kira and Kirsten, Andy Jones, they all go live on our Facebook page all the time. So if you're not following Plaid Crafts on Facebook, you should do that, because twice a week we go live with a craft break. Plus we have a Let's Paint with Plaid Facebook group. So there's so much to do and so much learning that you can get absolutely free online between Michaels and Plaid that I would invite you to follow all of that. And I'll put a couple of links here in the chat as we go.
Yeah.
So I guess we've probably caught up now. So you want to move on to the blue?
I'd love to move on to the blue.
All right.
Oh, go ahead.
No, that's it.
Okay. I thought I was talking over you for a second. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit mine with the hairdryer real quick, just because as you can see here in the final painting, there's lots of overlapping, which was fine for the yellows, but I don't want to start overlapping with blue because I'll muddy my colors. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just hit my painting with a hairdryer. So if you guys are where I am, go ahead and dry your painting too, if you can. Okay, so that's probably good for now.
All right.
So now we're going to go on to our blue. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some of my French blue and put a little bit of that on my palette. And I'm going to take the same brush that we've been using. We haven't really gone strayed from this brush yet. So my 3/4 inch flat brush. And I'm going to do a couple flowers in the same shape that we painted our yellow flower. So I'm going to do a couple. You can see here, I have a couple of blue flowers that are kind of that like blob shape we've been doing. I can't think of like a prettier word for it. Like that sort of like soft, cloudy looking, I don't know, blob. So I'm going to do a couple flowers in that shape with my French blue. So I'll do one here maybe. And you want to start thinking now as we're doing our blue flowers, you want to start, you can see I kind of had my flowers all over the place. You want to start filling in some of that empty space. So some of those gaps between our shapes, we want to start being a little bit intentional now and filling in those areas, because we want to have a nice full painting when we're done. And we'll do another one. Being indecisive. We'll do another one over here. And I really love this French blue color. I use it all the time. It's just a nice soft sort of like country farmhousey blue. Like it's just really pretty. Okay. So I'm gonna maybe I'll add one more of these actually. So I'm gonna do a little guy down here. Okay. And also guys, we're going to be adding some leaves at the end. So when we're kind of doing the blue flowers, don't feel like you need to fill in all the space. You just want to start filling up some of these really large areas. But, you know, we have a couple more details we're going to put in at the end. So don't feel like you need to cover all of the background. Okay, so I'm just rinsing off my brush now. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab this number 12 flat brush that I showed you guys in the beginning. So a 1/2 inch flat or a 1/4 inch flat is great for this. Any sort of, small to medium flat brush is what you're looking for this one. And the reason we're switching to a smaller flat brush is because we have kind of these like a little bit more intentionally flower shaped shapes we're about to paint, and we want to be able to get those sort of petal shapes in. Okay, so I'm gonna pick up some more French blue. And I'm gonna start by doing a big flower here. It's gonna be similar to this one, just so you guys can see what I'm doing really well before we start painting the rest. So I'll show you how I do that. So I'm gonna start up here on the top left, and I'm gonna start pulling in all of my petals. So it might be even easier for you guys if you make a little dot, just so you know where you want the center to be, so you know where you're pulling into, because that's how we're gonna paint the petal. So I'm gonna start here, I'm gonna press down and pull into the center. And I'm going to keep going around, going into the same spot each time, and then we're going to widen them. So I'm pressing down and I'm pulling into the center. So I have this little star here. And now we want to widen them. So we want to make them slightly wider than they are now, just so they take up some more space. I'm just kind of use the brush to widen them, just to fill in some more of that space. We don't want it to be so sparse looking. So you guys can see what I'm doing.
Yep, totally clear. We can see.
Also, awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna do that a couple more of those. So I'll do one here, I'll make my little center so I know where I'm coming from. And then I'll do my petals. You can overlap them. And then the same thing, I'm going to go back and I'm going to widen these because I want it to be like a really bold shape. All the details are going to be with the paint pen. These are just like big, bright, bold blocks of color. And then, like I said, all the details will go back later with the paint pen. If you don't have a paint pen, that's okay. You can use like a very fine paintbrush and some white paint. Just know that it's going to take you a little bit longer, and that's okay. Or like if you have like a silver Sharpie, that's okay too. Anything like that. Or if you're doing a different color palette, you can use, just a regular Sharpie, like a black Sharpie, if you feel like black will look good with the color scheme you have going. I was kind of keeping it springy, so I did a white paint pen. I'll do another big blue one over here. Oops, I forgot to do my center. See lots of regulars popping up in the chat. Hey, everybody.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being here.
What have I done? I've done something funky with my view, and now I can't see.
Oh no. As long as everybody can still see what we're painting.
No, we can see. They can see. I just can't. All right, here we go.
Well, I'll describe to you what's happening.
No, it's good. It's good. I think I'm good.
Make sure you don't fall behind.
So silly. Even when you do this all the time, you can be
I know.
flummoxed by the zoomer.
I was teasing John when he was trying to set up the cameras for me so nicely. I really had no right to be teasing him. I was like, John, I'm pretty sure we have hit our 1-year anniversary doing these Michael's Mini Classroom. Yeah. Why have we not figured out these cameras yet?
I think every time there's some weird thing that happens. It
is true. It does seem like it's a little bit random every time. Okay, so I'm gonna do a couple small blue flowers. I'm gonna do one here, a tiny one, and one here, and I'm gonna kind of have them peeking into the canvas so they don't take up too much space. So just kind of one peeking off the edge here, and then another one up here peeking off the edge, just to fill up some of that empty space. And again, some of these yellow, background areas, we're gonna go back and we're gonna fill in with a green leaf. So don't stress about that. Okay, so again, guys, don't put too much thought into this. Just nice, big, bold strokes of color. You want just big, bold color color blocking, excuse me, for the background. You don't want to spend too much time on it. You don't want any detail. That's what we're trying to avoid. No detail for these background shapes. All the detail is going to be with the paint pen. So let's go ahead and get some color down on there. Keep it really loose, and it'll be perfect. I'll give you guys just a minute to catch up for that.
Hi, Paula Consavage from
Hey.
our Let's Paint with Plaid group is joining this evening.
Yeah, we've made so many friends with these Michael's classes. So many of you guys have come over to, like John said, our Let's Paint with Plaid Facebook group, or have come from there to the Michael's classes. I see you guys all the time. We have, like John mentioned, our craft breaks on our Facebook page. We love seeing you guys pop up. Cricut and Catherine and all of you guys. It's just so fun seeing you guys, you know, all throughout the week. I feel like we're friends, even though we've never met.
So make sure make sure that you guys, when you do your completed painting, make sure that you hashtag Plaid Crafts and post them for us so we can see them.
Absolutely. That's my favorite part of the week. As much as I love painting, which is so fun, I think I might like even more getting up tomorrow morning and getting on Facebook and looking at the hashtag and looking at the Let's Paint group and seeing all of your paintings. It makes me so happy.
Oh yeah, and Raina just posted a bunch of hashtags for people to use. So Michael's classes, Make It with Michael's,
Thanks,
Plaid
Raina.
Crafts. That way they can see too.
Yep, she's on it. Okay, so hopefully you guys are caught up with your blue. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add some of these little green leaves in, like I mentioned. So I'm gonna use my number 12 flat brush, just the same one we were just using, to mix. And you wanna make sure you have some French blue and some medium yellow on your palette. And I'm going to mix 1 part French blue, 1 part medium yellow. And what we're going for, I'm sure you guys can guess, a nice soft green color. So I always try to keep these classes, you know, pretty budget friendly. I do my best to use as few paintings or as few paints as possible, just so, you know, keep everybody's budget nice and safe. So I decided we didn't need green for the painting. When I was going through making the list, I was like, we can just mix these 2 pretty colors together and we'll get a nice soft green.
Yeah, it's not like you work for a paint company or anything. Who wants to sell paint?
I mean, we want you guys to buy paint, but I know everybody's having trouble getting paint too. So
you are absolutely right. I'm just teasing. We love the fact that you are being conscious of everyone's.
Let's be thrifty with our crafting, John. That's what we want.
That's right.
But yeah, so we try to keep it good for you guys, to keep it to especially colors that you hopefully already have at home or have similar colors at home or that are easy for you guys to obtain. So anyway, that's why there's no green in the supply list, because we can easily mix our yellow and blue and get this really pretty green. And
we do recognize, guys, all kidding aside, we recognize that there is a shortage of paint on the store shelves and even online. And it's just because there's been such an incredible demand during this time. Everyone is at home and wanting to paint. And so we really do appreciate your patience, and just know that we are making paint here at our plant in Georgia as fast as we possibly can. We make it 24/7, quite literally 24/7.
Yes.
And trucks are leaving every day. So thank you for your patience.
We really do appreciate you guys sticking with us. Okay, so I have my nice green color mixed here. I did 1 part French blue and 1 part medium yellow. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab my number 5 round brush. So this one that I showed you guys in the beginning, like a small to medium round brush. I'm going to pick up some of this green. And I'm going to kind of look, you know, you want it to make sense where your leaves are coming from. You don't want just like a random leaf in the middle. You want them to look like they're kind of coming from flowers, like growing with flowers. But we also kind of want to think about filling up some of this negative space. So for example, we could have a leaf coming out of here, coming out of this gold flower here, and it will fill up that space nicely. And I'm just going to go ahead and fill it in. And I'm just doing like a little football shape, just like a very classic leaf shape, nothing crazy. And then we could have another one coming out of this gold flower to fill up this area right here nicely. And I'm going to fill that one in. And then I'm going to add one or two more. I'll do some overlapping for this one. So maybe for this one, I'm going to do a flower coming out of this blue one. Or I'm sorry, a leaf coming out of this blue flower, and I'm going to overlap these yellow ones because I do want to have some nice overlapping going on my painting. And then I'll have one, maybe one coming out of this blue flower here. And then maybe I think I'm gonna do one more and then I'm gonna let it be because I don't want it to get too busy. I'll do one up here. Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna leave it with those few there. I'm gonna rinse my brush off. And then I have one more tiny little detail that we can add, which is, kind of optional before we start using our paint pen. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna grab my number 12 flat brush again. So this kind of medium guy. And I'm gonna mix a little bit of white and, oops, I got a lot of yellow in there. Mix a little bit of white and French blue to get a nice light blue color. You can see here we did these little like dot details there that are like a different kind of shaped little flower there. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So maybe I'll do my painting got kind of busy all of a sudden. I'm not sure how I got all these shapes here. So I'm going to do a little, I think I'm going to do some down here just to show you guys. So I'm going to show you how I do that little tiny circle. So you can see here these little dot ones that I was talking about. I'm just going to take my brush and I'm going to twist it to get that little dot shape. I'm just going to twist it. If you have like a dauber at home or something, that works too, or like a dotting tool if you're into like painting mandalas and things like that. There's some great dotting tools and things like that at the craft store now. So it's great to have tools like that when you're painting, just to kind of like simplify things and make things quicker so you don't have to worry about stuff like this. But you can also just use your brush. I'm gonna do 3 little circles here. Maybe I'll do a couple up here. Again, just some more shapes to add a little bit of variety to our painting. All right, and that said, guys, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to dry my painting now. So if you guys are drying your painting as we go ahead and do the same. And for this part, guys, sometimes I leave my painting a little bit damp just between coats of paint. For this part, you really want it very dry. You don't want to try to draw with the paint pen over paint that's not completely wet, because it'll start trying to pull the paint up and you'll start getting, the tip of your paint pen kind of dirty. So make sure your painting is very dry when we start with the paint pen. So just a little reminder while we're drying.
How is everybody doing on their flowers? Are you on your leaves? Have you got your shapes down pretty much for the most part? Not yet. Okay, got some yes, some no.
What?
Okay. I was asking how everyone's doing with their shapes, if they're ready to go. Most people seem to be seem to be getting there.
Okay.
Ready to go.
Should I give everybody a minute? We've got some time, so.
Yeah, folks need to dry, but I think you can go ahead and show them at least the technique, and then they can go back and do theirs.
Okey-dokey. All right, so like I said, this is like kind of a chunky paint pen. You can use a thinner one. I just had this one. So this is Craft Smart. This is from Michaels, but it's got a really big chisel tip, but you can just use a tip to get, you know, more fine lines. Or there's lots of options at Michaels. They have a great selection of paint pens. So they have ones with really fine tips. They have ones even finer than that. So again, whatever you had at home or whatever you bought at Michaels is totally fine. So I'm gonna use this big chunky guy. I really like this one. So it's always good to kind of make sure that your paint pen is flowing. So you can do it on a, you know, napkin or your palette paper. Just make sure you have a good flow there before you take it to your painting. But this is the part that I like the most. This is the part that reminds me of like being in school and doodling in my notebook or like writing note cards to friends and things like that. It's just so much fun. This is where the doodle, you know, portion of this spring doodle painting comes into play. So first, I'm going to show you guys how to add details to these like sort of blobs that I've been calling them, like these really wonky circular shapes. So I'm going to use the very tip, and I'm going to start in the center. So we'll start here so everybody can see. Can everybody see this little gold one right here?
Yep.
I'm going to put a dot in the middle, just guessing, nothing crazy. And I'm going to do a petal. I'm going to go almost to the edge, but I'm not going to go right to the edge because I want to see that color. Here, I'll hold it up high for you guys. Is that better?
Yep, that's great.
It's like the shape of a guitar pick. If you guys are familiar with what a guitar pick looks like, that's kind of the shape we're going for. So I'm going to do a petal directly next to it, but I'm going to try to overlap it. So I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to overlap it to make my next guitar pick shape. See that there? And I'm going to keep doing that, overlapping it until I've gone all around very loosely, guys, just like the rest of this painting, and filled up the whole thing with petals. Do you guys see that? I'm holding it up so you guys can get a really good look.
We got a great look at that.
Awesome. Okay, so now we're really just going to continue that same technique for all of these, like, you know, wonky circle shapes or whatever you want to call them. You can feel free to turn your painting around if it's easier for you. Paint pen's a little different than a paintbrush, so if you want to kind of turn it around to get a better angle, so you definitely don't want to, you know, smear your paint pen. It takes a minute to dry. You don't want to run your hand through it. So we're just going to continue doing that. Very loose doodly petals on all of these shapes. So we want to keep in mind, you know, some of the areas where we've got overlap. So for me, this maybe wasn't the best idea, but we can fix it. It's not a big deal at all. I overlapped the blue onto the blue. So now I'm going to kind of have to go back and recreate the structure of that in my mind. So I'm going to save this one for last. So if you guys did the same thing and you overlapped your blue like I did with two different shapes, I'll show you guys how to do that. We're going to do we're going to do this daisy-ish flower first. So kind of just save that for the end, and we can do that part together. I'll show you what to do. And I'm going to keep doing these. Just, you know, drawing around shapes that are overlapped. And don't want to forget the edge ones too. So this one I'm got to be careful. I'm just going to go around those dot shapes that I made, but it's not a big deal. I'm just going to do my best to kind of connect the dots where those petals would be. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can see I kind of just made it up. It's okay. So doing my guitar pick shapes, I'm doing it again really quick. That's kind of the whole thing with this painting, is the quicker the better, because you get these really fun, loose, doodly shapes and lines, and that's kind of the look we're going for. And I'll do some down here. And I'll do some here. Okay. And then the next thing we're going to do is the leaves. The leaves are the next easiest part. So for the leaves, I'm going to kind of like outline it, but I'm not going to go all the way to the edge, just like kind of how we did these here. And also, guys, just as a reminder, be careful. So I'm going to put my fist here. Can you guys see? Here, I'll move it up because I think the chat is probably blocking it for a lot of people. I have my fist here so that I can lean on it, and that way I'm not touching my canvas. So here, I have my fist here so I can lean on my fist, and that way my arm is raised, So I'm not leaning my entire arm on my canvas and smearing it around with my hand as I go. Does that make sense to you guys? So something here to prop it up higher so I can draw on my canvas without my hand touching it and smearing it.
Makes sense. Hey, Jesse, is there some trick to getting a paint pen started? Sierra was just saying she has a fine tip marker she just bought and it doesn't seem to be working. Do you have to somehow prime it or?
Shake it a lot. And then what you need to do is press down. So I don't want to do it on mine because mine's like really flowing. As you can see here, I'm making a mess. I've got a lot of paint coming out of it, but I'll show you on this one. So what you want to do is you want to keep the cap on, shake it for a good while, like shake it for like a good 30, 45 seconds. And then you want to press down gently. You don't want to press too hard. You want to press down gently on like a napkin or your palette paper or whatever it is that you've got. And that is going to saturate that felt tip with the paint, and it's kind of start getting it flowing. So sometimes, the tips want to dry on you with paint pens. So even if it's not a new one, you might need to do the same thing each time you use it, just to kind of keep it flowing. So you can see here, I'm pressing down gently, and now I've got a nice flow there. Can you see? So again, very gently. You don't want to force it. But look, I just got a ton of paint out of there. So it's flowing nicely now.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. I'm gonna get in trouble for messing up the table from Dylan. Okay, so
You might want to wipe it while it's still wet. I'm just saying.
I don't have a wipe. Took my crusty wipes away. Hang on.
Oh, I didn't mean to actually get up and go get some, but that's how it is. It's live theater, folks.
So you guys keep paint penning your flowers while I clean up my table so I don't get in trouble. Uh-oh.
It's too late.
How long has it been there? Why didn't you guys tell me?
I don't know. You're going to be joining the class next Monday night, and you're all going to be looking at it going, hee hee, I know how that might start there.
Oh, don't worry. I'll probably be fired by then. No, just kidding. Dylan is very sensitive about, he has these beautiful tables for filming. He's one of our camera people, and he likes to keep them nice for good reason, because they're very beautiful butcher black tables, but we're not supposed to mess them up. Anyway, it's okay. All right, so I've got all of my circular flowers done. Now I'm going to move on to my leaves. So the leaves are super simple. You want to go around the edges, not quite to the edge, just shy of it, and paint, sort of mirror that shape, just like that. And then do a squiggle in the middle. That's literally all there is to it. Catherine, I don't have my wipes, Catherine. These are dry. They dried out. Oh my goodness. Don't worry, guys. I'll get it off. Thanks so much for all your tips. I really appreciate it. I need to clean it off when we're done with the painting. I'll go grab some nail polish remover, rubbing alcohol or something. Okay, so we're going to keep doing this on our leaves. Really simple. Just outlining it again, just shy of the edge though. We don't want to cover up that edge. And doing that cute little squiggle in the middle.
This green was a custom mix. She did half French blue and half medium yellow. It's not, right. But any green that you have would work for your painting.
Yeah, totally. Whatever green you want to use for your leaf would absolutely be great for this. Okay. Cricut, what did Cricut say?
She said it's being recorded, so you can't blame someone else.
It's true. There's evidence on michaels.com.
Dylan's going to be like, who?
Table. It'll come off. I've messed it up before, guys. I always am scrubbing paint off this table before Dylan finds out. Okay. All right. So we finished our leaves. And so now remember these little blue dot, details we did? If you guys did those, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add details to those now. I said it was optional, so if you didn't, no biggie. We just want to make sure they're not floating little bubbles. So we're going to paint little stems just coming off of those. So we're going to do little stems like they're little flower buds coming off. You can have them kind of going in different directions if you want. Just want to make sure they're connected and they look intentional. So I just painted, and it's kind of tough to see in the light background, but just little stems kind of making those look like we did them on purpose. And then lastly, remember I saved this for last. So I mentioned, I kind of wasn't planning very well, and I overlapped these two blues And now they kind of blend into each other and it's hard to tell the difference. So the reason I saved that one is because I want to paint this flower first, and I'm going to pretend like this one's behind it, and I'll show you why. So first of all, I'm going to show you how to paint this flower. This one's fun too. You just kind of do a big squiggly popcorn sort of shape in the middle. I'll hold it up high. So you see there, just like a squiggly popcorn shape in the middle. And then I'm going to do the same. I'm going to do the outline on each of these petals, kind of similar to the way we did the leaf. I'm going to go right to the just shy of the edge on each of these petals. And then I'm going to do a couple of lines just for some detail, a little bit of texture in each of my petals. See, super duper simple, guys. Nothing crazy here. The same thing here, kind of a little fluffy popcorn center. And then I'm going to outline my petals just shy of the edge. I'll do my little lines for some texture. This is my favorite part of the whole thing. I think it's so fun doing this little doodling stuff.
Boy, Jesse, we've got people all concerned about your well-being now. Everyone is.
I'm going to be fine. Don't worry. Dylan has no authority over me.
They've got 400 plus people going to demand a boycott of Plaid until Jesse is reinstated.
Don't worry, guys. I'm not going anywhere. They can't get rid of me that easy. Thanks, guys. I appreciate the support. If I was going to get fired for messing up a table, ooh, I would have been gone a long time ago.
Yeah, that would be a problem.
I mess up a lot of tables around here. A lot of spilled paint in this building, as y'all can imagine. And then I don't want to forget about these little guys that I had poking off the edge. So I'm going to do my little details on those too. Okay. And then last but not least, we save that guy for the end, because now that we have this shape drawn in, it's much easier to see where he's going to be. So we can do just like we did the other ones with our guitar pick petal shapes, and we can easily go around the shape of that larger flower, and it's not so confusing. We can really distinguish between those two blue shapes. And you guys, that's it. So make sure you sign your painting. I like to sign my initials when I don't have enough room. Oops, I did JP, wrong initials. But that's it for our spring doodle painting.
You forgot you're married?
I forgot I'm married. I haven't done my initials in a while. I did JP instead of JJ. Muscle memory. All right, thanks everybody. So, as always, we really appreciate you guys watching. We are here every Monday night. It's either me or Kirsten or Andy Jones teaching you guys a painting in just about an hour. So we'll be back next week. Actually, it's going to be me again. So we've got our April classes up on michaels.com. I know some of you guys have been looking for the April classes and you didn't see them. So they're up now. And we're going to be painting this really cute, it's a little bit different, this really cute boho butterfly wing. So this is going to be next week's painting. So make sure you tune in again Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and we will be here. And we are scheduled with Michaels to do classes at least through the month of July. So all summer, you guys, and I'm sure longer, we are going to be here in the Michaels community classrooms, teaching you guys painting and Mod Podging and just all the fun craft things that we do here at Plaid. And just like John said earlier, make sure if you post all of your paintings, whether it be in the Let's Paint with Plaid Facebook group or just on Instagram and your personal Facebook pages, make sure to hashtag Plaid Crafts so we can see what you're painting, and also hashtag Make It With Michaels. And have I forgotten anything, John?
No, I think you got it. We are looking forward to seeing everybody's creation. So please post and share with us. We really love seeing that.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good
We'll
night.
see everybody next time.